Okay, so being conscious of time, let's start. Well, first of all, good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on the time zone, the country you are at. And thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Alejandro Navarro Soto del Castillo, and I am a partner solutions architect at AWS. Today, I'm excited to walk you through how AWS and Skyhawk security are coming together to shape the future of cloud security. So if you want, Jennifer, Nathan, if you want to introduce yourself now.
Sure. My name is Jennifer Gill. I'm Vice President of Marketing here at Skyhawk Security.
And I am Nathan Schmidt, and I am one of our solution architects here at Skyhawk Security.
Awesome. Okay. So, well, let's dive in. First of all, before jumping into these slides, I'm going to give a brief introduction of the agenda of today. I'm going to be presenting the security topic in general, but from AWS perspective and on AWS, on the cloud in general. And then we will have the second part of this presentation, of these slides. It's going to be about Skyhawk presenting their offerings, their solution, and how they are basically innovating on security topics on top of AWS. So let's dive in. Before we talk about solutions, let's acknowledge the reality that many organizations face today. First, there's the innovation roadblock. The security teams have traditionally been seen as the department of no, slowing down progress in the name of protection, usually, right? Second, we're dealing with an expertise shortage. Security professionals are stretched thin, spending too much time on repetitive, low-value tasks. And then third, the threat landscape is constantly evolving. The attackers are shifting tactics and leveraging new technologies, creating an ever-changing risk dynamic. And finally, the data protection and privacy demands continue to grow. Maintaining customer trust means meeting increasingly complex industry regulations. So these are the challenges that we need to address head on. Historically, the organizations were forced into a painful trade-off. You could either move fast and innovate, or you could stay secure. It felt like you had to choose one or the other, right? Speed or safety. It was kind of like that. So these either or mindset held businesses back and created friction between development and security teams. But luckily, that's no longer the case. Today, with the right tools and approach, you can move fast and stay secure. This is the fundamental shift that we are seeing in cloud security, and it's no longer about compromise. In this case, AWS enables organizations to innovate at speed while maintaining a strong security posture, and that's exactly what we are here to talk about today. So, how does AWS actually make this possible? Well, when it comes down, well, it usually comes down to three core pillars. First, we provide the most secure infrastructure available in general. Second, we offer security automation that drives speed and agility. And third, we deliver end-to-end security and guidance to help you every step of the way. So also let me walk you through each of these in more details. Starting with infrastructure, the challenge is quite clear. You need to build on a cloud that gives you the security and the confidence to accelerate innovation. So AWS answers this with 143 security and compliance certifications nowadays, a secure by design philosophy backed into everything that we build, and more operational experience than any other cloud provider. So when your foundation is secure, everything you build on top of it benefits. So now let's talk about the automation, the second part. The challenge here is basically automating security checks so you can continuously enforce controls and even mathematically prove the highest levels of security. AWS delivers on this through provable security, using automated reasoning to verify configurations, for example, automatic detection of security events, so also threats are caught in real time, and security automation at scale. So you're not relying on manual processes that can't keep up with the pace of the modern development. And the third pillar is about guidance. The challenge is implementing every step of your organization's optimal security posture, and that's no small task in general. AWS supports you with the Security Reference Architecture, or SRA, which provides prescriptive guidance. We have also the security pillar of the well-architected framework. There are over 300 security services and features natively available. So you also have access to thousands of security solutions on AWS Marketplace, plus a vibrant open source security community. So with AWS, in this case, you're never alone on this journey. And even today, for example, in this case, we have Skyhawk Security with us, which also contributes a lot on this ecosystem and in this community regarding the security postures, AWS, and the cloud security itself. Now, an important concept to understand is the shared responsibility model. So the security in the cloud is a partnership at the end. AWS is responsible for the security of the cloud, and that means protecting the infrastructure that runs all the services we offer, and then customers are responsible for the security in the cloud. So that responsibility varies depending on which AWS services you select. Understanding this division is critical in order to build a secure environment, and it's where partners like Skyhawk Security play a vital role in helping customers manage their side of the equation. So let me give you super quickly a sense of breadth of the security tools that AWS offers. We organize our solutions into 4 key categories. For identity and access management, we have services like IAM Identity Center, Cognito, verified permissions, among others. For detection and response, there's the Security Hub, GuardDuty, Inspector, Security Lake, and Detective. So giving you, in this sense, a comprehensive visibility and incident response capabilities. For network and application protection, we offer Shield, WAF, the firewall, network firewalls, PPCs, verified access as well. And for data protection, you also have your KMS, the Key Management System, the Cloud HSM, Certificate Manager, Secrets Manager, and Amazon Macy, for example. So together, these services provide a comprehensive layered security approach. And as we will see with these immediate next steps with Skyhawk, is how we can mix all of this in order to build proper security infrastructure, build proper services, and leverage partners' offerings, for example, in order to secure our infrastructure. And just to finalize this small section to leave room to the important topic of today with Skyhawk, I want to briefly talk about this phrase. So I'll leave to you with this thought from James Scott of the Institute of Critical Infrastructure Technology. There's no silver bullet solution with cybersecurity. A layered defense is the only viable defense. And basically, this perfectly captures the philosophy behind AWS security. It's not about one tool or one service. It's about building layers of protection that work together to keep your organization safe. So thank you all for your time and attention from today and for this part of the presentation. I hope this has given you a clear picture of how AWS provides a security foundation that you need to innovate with confidence. And up next, we'll hear from Skyhawk Security about how their solutions complement and extend what AWS offers. So I'll be looking forward to your questions in the chat in case you have it. So let's continue the conversation. Jennifer, Nathan, the floor is yours. I'll stop sharing the screen.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so at Skyhawk Security, we're really focused on an AI-based cloud security platform. And you'll see when we get into some of the threats and things like that, we help you fight AI autonomous attacks. So and I just wanted to highlight that we do have our security competency with AWS. So for our agendas, we already did introduce ourselves, so I'll put up a quick slide on Nathan and myself. We'll go over some challenges, how you can fight AI with AI, the differentiator, our AI red team, how this works, a couple of use cases, a demo, a case study, and summary how to engage with us. So it seems like a lot, but I promise it's not gonna be death by PowerPoint. So Nathan is with me today. So he's a solutions engineer and he has over 25 years of experience as a solution engineer. So Nathan, thank you for joining with me today on the webinar.
Happy to be here.
So, and I've also been in high-tech product marketing for 25 years and I've had leadership positions at many other companies. Okay. So we see at Skyhawk many customers coming to us with sort of like an early storm warning. And it's something I think that probably many of you are seeing. It's too many security tools giving you too many alerts. And you're very busy with this. And when everything seems critical, it seems like nothing is. So you're really kind of in constant reactive mode. Something that's kind of been sort of on the cusp of becoming mainstream, but I think this year we really saw it become mainstream, is threat actors are using AI to attack in companies. And this year, especially, they were using it to attack cloud environments. So you can see the many, many headlines. There was something with Anthropic. I don't know if anyone watches 60 Minutes. It's a US-based news program, but Anthropic was on there talking about this AI-based attack. And I believe CJ Moses recently from Amazon also put together a blog around the use of AI by threat actors. So they're using this to be better, quicker, faster, stronger in their attacks. So we may need to make sure we use AI to have better, faster, stronger, quicker security. And recently, I don't know if anyone saw the CrowdStrike report. It came out in February. It had some very good data points. So we kind of had like the anecdotal, gee, these headlines are coming up, but is it really becoming a threat? Is AI really here as an attack vector? And it absolutely is. So year over year, we saw AI autonomous attacks up 89%. So they almost doubled. AI is being used very effectively. The average attack took about an hour last year. It was days before that, and now it's to less than 30 minutes. So they're really using AI in effective ways. And humans just aren't as fast as AI. So it's taking us 6 hours or so to respond. And the year over year attack velocity has increased. So vulnerability lists grow longer, context grows shorter, and security teams are just overwhelmed. It's almost an unfair position to be in. Nathan, anything to add to this?
Yeah, no, and I think beyond that too, I think that a lot of even the what we called script kiddies out there that would maybe be more nuisance than anything are also adopting AI. So it's one of those things where it's just amplifying every aspect of threat and risk in the environment from these attack vectors.
Yeah, right. So at Skyhawk, we can fight AI attacks with an AI-based purple team. And we do this in two key ways. And I really liked the silver bullet that Alejandro mentioned. Like, it's not just, hey, we're going to do this one thing and everything's going to be secure. You have to do many different things especially within the cloud, because it needs to be accessible for everyone to be able to do work. So you need to have that layered approach. So first we have our left of boom. So our preemptive security approach. So, and if you're a Gartner client, we are mentioned in many papers around adversarial exposure validation, preemptive exposure management, intelligent simulation. So all of that falls across both categories, but especially in the preemptive. So we have our AI-based red team. It's a continuous, non-disruptive adversary simulation against your actual cloud environment. We're looking at your cloud architecture, your security controls, and designing attacks specific for you to find where the weaknesses are in your environment. And that takes us to the next stage, which is we look for exposures. We look for the exposures that lead to your most valuable business assets. This is where we really become complementary. So at reInvent, actually, someone came up to us and told us in their CNAP platform, they had 16 million CNAP alerts. And I just can't even imagine my boss coming to me and telling me I had 16 million of anything to do. So with Skyhawk, and you'll see some real customer examples where we're able to reduce that by 99.7% for this one customer. It actually is typical. We were able to do it for two that we're going to showcase today. So we're able to take that completely unmanageable and unfair workload that you're sorting through down to something that is manageable for true cloud risk reduction. And we're also going to talk about our collaboration with the AWS security tools, specifically Inspector, GuardDuty, and Macy. So then we also have, oh, so Nathan, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, no, no. I was just gonna chime in, but I think you're gonna lead off. So
No, it's
please
okay.
go ahead.
So then for Right Boom to respond, so with that red team, because we've created the attacks that are custom for your cloud environment and security controls, we're able to do some pre-training around the SOC. So they have actually seen what this attack looks like. So they're going to be able to intercept and react faster because they've already seen it. And then it's also continuously validating the security controls in place, making sure that there are compensating controls before attackers find out that you don't actually have something in place. So Nathan, you want to add a little bit? Anything you want to comment is fine, but I was hoping you would talk about SOC pre-training.
Yeah, well, and look, these are definitely things that we're going to talk about in the demo today, but specifically around the SOC pre-training, I think the importance there too is that being able to not only understand the what ifs of the risk that Skyhawk brings to the table, but also being able to help, we had in that last slide where it had gone from the attack speeds had gone down or reduced from nearly an hour to less than a half hour, and human beings are still taking 6 hours to respond. Well, this actually gives you Skyhawk will actually, and I'll show this to you in the demo today, how we're able to help you be able to pre-train your SOC so that you can recognize these types of attacks, be able to set up your SOC to be able to respond more quickly, and that way you can get your mean time to resolution significantly down because you're not determining if these are false positives or anything like that. So definitely excited to showcase that today.
Perfect. So this is how we're able to take all the information from those other tools like the CNAPs. We also leverage Inspector in this way. So to take down what is going on, but get to what really matters. So we provide an adversarial view of your cloud with our AI Red team. So we leverage a digital twin. So it's an exact AI-based copy of your production cloud environment with the security controls. So we create this within our SaaS platform, so there's no impact to your production or people. Then we simulate the attacks through intelligent simulation. Again, I cannot stress enough, these aren't scripted. We don't have a book of attacks that we take to every single customer because every single customer's cloud environment and security controls are different. So they're not going to apply. So we create custom attacks. And then you see your cloud like a threat actor. So we prove what they're going to do and then help you prioritize and remediate that. We were at RSA just a couple weeks ago, and many people were asking Nathan about what is this digital twin exactly? So Nathan, do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Absolutely. And I know, when people hear the term digital twin, there have been some other technologies out there which are actually creating a second, infrastructure that to be able to leverage, to be able to do testing and those kinds of things on. But what we're actually doing here from a digital twin is this is a simulation. So we're effectively taking that and creating a digital AI simulation model that allows us to be able to, and this is, and we'll talk about this when we go through the demo as well, but we're only getting read-only telemetry from the public cloud. That is what we're building this on. So there's no critical data or anything like that, but it allows our AI to be able to go in and attack that digital twin without creating any sort of downtime, without or business continuity issues. Once we walked through that on the floor, I think a lot of people walked away going, "Oh, I get it," and that really helped them understand.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So this is kind of what started off the AI-based Purple team, which we did announce at reInvent in 2023. So it's this continuous evaluation of your cloud architecture environment. So let me just kind of step you through it. So first we discover everything that's in your cloud. And you'll see this in one of our case studies because you might feel like you're only looking under the flashlight. And with this AI-based search of your cloud architecture and security controls, we are going to find absolutely everything. Then we look for the weakest paths to your business critical assets. This is actually an integration point with Amazon. If you have Macy in place, we can leverage that to help with the data prioritization. And then we create those custom attacks, as I mentioned, with our breach and attack simulation. It's a continuous attack simulation to find your exposures. And then we can detect and respond to threats. We look for the posture gaps, the vulnerabilities and exposures, and we can generate an automated response. And of course, we make the remediation recommendations. And then the last part, so where the red team gets past the blue team, that's some of the things that we fix. But we also have a real-time cloud threat detection and response capability. So with that, we can say, hey, you need to update this threat detection here. This model needs to be updated to make sure that this crown jewel is not breached. So we're kind of getting it from both ends. We're getting it from, as I said, the preemptive, let's close these exposures, let's address these vulnerabilities. If that can't be done for whatever reason, then we update our threat detection to make sure we're detecting things absolutely as fast as possible. So Nathan, also at RSA, people were saying breach and attack simulation. I know when we say it, we mean something not what everybody else means, maybe. You want to clarify?
Yeah, I mean, I think we borrow that phrasing. Breach and attack simulation, I think, is a really great way to explain what we're doing, but it's not to be confused with tools that do breach and attack simulation. I think what those are really doing are doing a lot of prescribed attacks. You're setting up, exercises, you're defining test environments or things to point at, to do to look for attack surface gaps and things like that. That is not what Skyhawk does. If you think about maybe a Venn diagram, maybe we over we'll bleed into that area a little bit, but really we're just borrowing that phrasing in what we do in Skyhawk.
Perfect. Okay. And so now some real data results for you. So this is a customer example, said about 500,000 vulnerabilities that they came with. Again, if my boss told me you have 500,000 of anything to do, I would be like so overwhelmed. But with the AI-based red team, we were able to find what's really exploitable, what's really weaponizable, and then what's really affecting your crown jewels. So now you can say, instead of having 500,000 things to do, you're really down to 7 things that you actually need to do. So this helps you see less and secure more. So that's one real customer example. And then helping you secure every use case. So we talked about fight AI with AI. We talked about the exposure management, the reduced business risk. I'm going to pause here a bit because we do help you prioritize threats to crown jewels, but we also have something called a purple team report, which gives you a trend analysis over time so that you can say, we've shut down this many attack paths. You can see we've reduced the number of crown jewels at risk. So it gives you a real report to show how you are reducing risk in the cloud. Because I think, again, if we start with, we have 500,000 vulnerabilities or 400,000 vulnerabilities, and you address 5,000 of them, which would be absolutely amazing. And you take that to the board and they say, hey, they say, great, so you adjust for that 5,000 vulnerabilities. So we're secure now, right? I don't know that you can necessarily say yes. But with this report, you can show actually we are more secure. We've reduced the risk to these crown jewels, and we've shut down this many attack paths. So, and that gets to the validating security controls. We did that with the AI-based red team, and then the alert prioritization. You just saw that on the previous slide. So if I'm ever going too fast, like feel free to pop something into the panel. I know that into the questions, I can see that Nathan's answering them, so he can tell me to slow down if needed. But we just have a couple more slides before we get to the demo. So I just wanted to pause and talk a little bit about our integration with AWS. So we have with Inspector, it's a vulnerability scanner, just in case you don't know. And the AI-based red team finds what's weaponized, and this helps you reduce the alert noise. Macy is a data classification tool, so it helps you streamline and classify those business prioritization assets, to prioritize those business assets appropriately, and that helps you reduce the business risk. And then with guard duty, and you'll see that in the blue team or our threat detection, this contributes to our attack sequence. So this helps stop threats as well. So use data from all three of these products within our platform to help you reduce cloud risk. Nathan, anything I missed?
No, nothing that you missed. I mean, surely we also integrate with Security Hub, and our outputs can go into the security lakes and things like that. But I'll talk about in the demo how we work with Inspector and where Macy comes in and where Guard Duty comes in on the blue team side. Definitely want to hit those marks.
Perfect. Okay. So, and then a couple case studies. So we did a webinar with Amit in March. It went really well. And he talked about, he has a CNAP in place that he uses Skyhawk Security alongside that. And they just had too many alerts. So he actually said this in the webinar. He's like, we could see the top, I'm actually to the top 0.3% of the alerts from the CNAP. So it really cuts down on their noise. It shows them exactly what's weaponized and what puts them at risk. So it's really an amazing product. And I will say, and this is the second time I've worked with kind of an amazing product. The first one I did, it was acquired by a larger company. And there could be people sitting there thinking like, of course they say it's so great. We have a free trial. You can try the product for 30 days. And I encourage you to do that because we really do put our money where our mouth is, because you're seeing these numbers and are like, this sounds too amazing. I get it. I've had to market a product that sounds too amazing before, and that's why we try to showcase our customers and case studies, and we want you to do the free trial. So please sign up for the free trial. And I have another amazing case study as well with Tenable. So with this customer, they took down their 41,000 total vulnerabilities down to 114. So again, I know it sounds too amazing, but this is just another opportunity. Again, please try the free trial. It's a 30-day trial. And so with that, I am going to stop sharing and get to the demo, and Nathan will show you the product in action.
Absolutely. And we've already had some great questions coming from the chat. So I definitely want to address those as we're going through this. And just keep in mind, I won't appear that I won't be able to see the chat while I'm presenting. So Jennifer, if there are any questions or anything that I need to hit or slow down along the way, just let me know.
I will.
And so one of the first questions that we had was around, what is the AI, and how is it and how is it working behind the scenes? What are we doing from an AI perspective? And I think it's really important. I'm going to talk about two big things here. I'm going to talk about really our superpower, which is our adversarial AI and what we're doing with red teaming, and how that works with the purple team and what we're doing there. I'm going to talk through that. Then I'm going to talk about the unified vulnerability management and how we're working with products like AWS Inspector to help us be able to reduce the noise. Jennifer's been talking about that as we've been going through that today, and then I'll sort of tie that together with some business cases that involve Macy as well, and how that and kind of bring all of those together. But let me talk a little bit about the red team and the attack simulation. I know there are some questions. There was another question about like what we're doing with metadata. So and I think you'll see it in this example. So if I don't answer the questions, by all means, let's clarify and we'll dig in through Q&A. But what we're doing at Skyhawk here, it's really important to highlight that this is a proprietary AI. So this isn't just using, chatbots. It's not using Claude or anything to like the fundamental aspect of what we're doing here with the AI red team is this is deep learning neural network type AI stuff, right? So what we're actually doing when we connect to your public cloud, and there was a specific question about metadata, is we're like our adversarial AI has been trained on thousands of TTPs. And so what that enables us to do, and what we're doing with the digital twin, is that in the AI, it creates a digital twin simulation in that. So it's not it's not just metadata, but the AI basically recreates from the metadata what the environment looks like. And the advantage to that is that within the digital twin simulation, so without creating any sort of business continuity issues, without pointing toward a specific test environment, this allows us to not only continually be able to test and red team the simulation of the public cloud, but what it allows us to do is it basically dynamic environmental manipulation. Most tools out there, when they're talking, or even if you've used pen testing or done traditional BAS tools, what they're doing is they're looking at what's there, they're looking at what's misconfigured, and they're basically saying, what can I do with what's here? What we're actually doing inside of Skyhawk is, we'll show you a traditional attack path, and what you're seeing in this attack path is, it may look on the surface similar to what you're seeing, but this is a what if scenario. This is what the adversarial AI was able to do inside of this environment based upon what was configured, what was set up, the network environment, how it was able to potentially manipulate these things. And so in this example, we have a role that was able to leverage the excessive permissions inside of another role to be able to take advantage of a vulnerability to impact 43 different assets in this environment. And what that ends up looking like is, it's not just looking at this from the perspective of, did I find a vulnerability and therefore this is risky? No, what this did was it said, hey, I was able to assume the role. I was able to put role in this particular situation. I was able to get the access key, and then it was able to, in the digital twin simulation, it was able to create an EC2 instance. And from that EC2 instance, it was able to then create a security group. And then in that security group, it was able to create its own ingress and egress. And then from there, it was able to use the EC2 instance to leverage an attack from remote code execution. This is something that no other tool in the industry has the ability to do. We are effectively, basically, like I said, we're taking those thousands of trained TTPs and saying, what can we do in this environment to take it over? What can we go beyond the simple misconfigurations and actually show you what an attacker can do inside of these environments? And so what that ends up doing for us, and certainly Jennifer talked about this as we were going through the presentation today, was, we're able to leverage third-party control. So if we end up, if guard duties turned on, we'll see that there. But when we were talking about earlier about SOC pre-training and be able to leverage this from the blue team perspective, Skyhawk also has a class leading, threat detection and response, a CDR. And so we're looking at this from the perspective of, if we were to see this attack happen, how would Skyhawk respond to this? And so the advantage for you and your teams is that, if you're using Security Hub or Security Lake or some CNAPP tool out there, you can actually use this for your threat detection response as well, to help you be able to say, hey, how can I be able to train my SOC to respond to these, so they know it's not a false positive, so they know exactly how to respond to this. And we go that extra mile by being able to provide you not only with remediation capabilities. So this provides you and your teams the ability to say, hey, I want to correct this. And if you can't, for whatever reason, because sometimes in a production environment, there are change management controls and things that may prevent you from quickly being able to correct things. Maybe that needs to go through a Terraform, code change analysis or something along those lines. Different companies have different. We not only provide you with what you need to update that and how you can correct those actions, but we can generate things like Terraform scripts, as well as, if you're leveraging third-party tools, if you end up having a a guard duty or understanding how guard duty is going to respond. But if you have other tools like Splunk or CrowdStrike or those kinds of things, we can also create code to help you inform that so that you're responding to those more quickly. I want to pause here real quick. Any questions that came in the chat on anything I covered so far, Jennifer?
Nope, I don't see anything yet.
Okay, so hopefully I'm answering those questions.
Yeah, I think so.
There's awesome. There's certainly more to go here. Again, this is our view of this is our superpower, our AI red teaming, and how we integrate this into the broader purple team message. This is really important because what we do with that, this isn't just giving you more things to go out and look at, but how we end up utilizing that. This is a great example, and this is our unified vulnerability management. So if you are leveraging something like AWS Inspector, where there are other CNAPP tools, other vulnerability management tools out there, which will integrate and bring in that telemetry as well. When we connect in that telemetry, what we're able to see is that there are these vulnerabilities, and one of the big challenges that a lot of teams have. Jennifer was talking about this. We had one we connected to where we were seeing 16 million, and even if that's 500,000, that's still a lot. And this is an actual sanitized example of a customer that we had that came to Skyhawk. This is a smaller customer, SMB customer, if you will, but they had multiple tools, and they came in and they were across all of that tooling, including AWS Inspector, they were seeing 115,000 total CVEs. Now, a lot of these tools are providing AI context. You can take this into Security Hub, Security Lake. You can run this, get AI context to help you understand, how these different misconfigurations and how the CVEs connect. They may even help you understand, this is involved in a production environment, so I need to focus on this first. But even across that, we're seeing across all of that tooling, all of that context brought it down from 115,000 down to 7,600, but that's still a lot. And so if you think about, vulnerabilities and how you need to work that, I think if we look at this graph and we think about this left to right, there's definitely a compliance need where at some point you're going to need to be able to address these vulnerabilities. But from a security perspective, this really needs to go right to left. You need to figure out which one of these vulnerabilities do I need to work on first. And this is one of the biggest challenge that we talked about RSA, everybody that came to the floor, everybody that I talked with that's dealing with vulnerabilities in their environment are running into this challenge where they're basically tasked with finding the sharpest needle in a stack of needles and trying to figure out which one to do first. Well, what we actually do with that AI red team is we apply that same adversarial AI technique to be able to say, and I showed that to you in that attack path, where we'll look at how that vulnerability can be referenced, how it can potentially be used inside of these environments. Again, with that dynamic environmental manipulation of that digital simulation. And so this allows us to showcase what exactly is weaponizable inside of this. So we go beyond what is theoretically exploitable down to what is actually weaponizable in your cloud. And so now if this goes to your security hub, or this needs to integrate with, ServiceNow or Jira, or however you consume this output, now your teams know that the things that are coming from Skyhawk, this is the thing that you need to focus on first. And this is one of the ways in which we help you drastically reduce noise in your environment. I saw that there was a pop-up. Is there a question based upon what I covered?
Yep, 2 questions.
Okay.
So does this cover the app runtime, or is it focused on cloud resources only?
Right. So Skyhawk, if you are leveraging a tool that has app runtime in vulnerabilities in there, that will certainly show up. You're going to see some of those here that come pop up in the vulnerabilities. Skyhawk right now does not have its own app scanner, but if that comes in as part of this, we will certainly integrate that as part of the vulnerability pieces of the equation. So that's a good question. You said there were two questions. What
Yep.
was the second?
Is there a workload lens, i.e. workload A has X vulnerabilities to act upon, or is it just across the whole cloud platform? And we need to reconcile resources back to products and workloads.
Right. So there's let me break that up into two pieces. So this is focused on environmental vulnerabilities, this particular piece that I'm looking at here. But what you will see now, I can't click through it here in the demo because this is a sanitized customer environment, but you'll notice there are these permutations, and you did see excuse me, back here in this particular example where I was showing the number of assets. We will tie back to specific assets and specific components. This gets broken down in the platform in a multitude of ways. So it is both environmental and asset based in terms of its understanding and being able to provide that so that your teams are going to be able to separate that. And we actually do that in a couple of different ways, which is where I'll get into the business use case next.
So
And
one more question came in hot off the presses.
yep.
Is that based on the CVSS score? How does it derive higher risk?
Yeah, so that's actually what I'll talk about now. So
Perfect.
look, CVSS score is certainly a part of the equation. Is it the sole equation? No, because one of the challenges is and what we hear across a lot of our customers that are dealing with this today is that's actually one of the reasons why we talk about weaponizable versus exploitable, right? Because now how this gets alerted or prioritized inside of your environment, how you wish to operationalize that can include the CVSS, right? But that score by itself doesn't mean a lot if that's not on something that is even theoretically exploitable. But if it's a high CVSS score and it is weaponizable, that is definitely something that we're going to add context with and allow you to operationalize that as you see most importantly. And one of the ways that we do this, and one of the things that you'll see here, you'll notice this word crown jewel pop up. You may have noticed that there are these tags of crown jewel showing up inside of the environment. What we do is we have this idea of business priority rules, which allows us to be able to come in and say, you know what, I'm using Macy, and we've used Macy to go in and find all of our critical data inside of the environment, and everything has, a value on it that says super critical app name, whatever. And so anything with this particular tagging from Macy or anything that's been designated from Macy, or if you know there are tags, or if there's a specific AWS account that you know your critical data exists, you can set that business priority rule inside Skyhawk. And then when we do the red teaming, you're going to see those crown jewels pop up inside of here, as well as you'll be able to see that inside the unified vulnerability management where you may prioritize crown jewels. And again, in the operational standpoint, we also have this idea around business units and being able to define, if certain assets are with certain teams, then those can go to the ServiceNow or the Security Hub or whatever that those teams are using to be able to manage the operation of those specific alerts. So we give you a lot of tools and a lot of different ways to be able to take the information from Skyhawk to be able to use this to automate inside, again, I liked, and Jennifer talked about it as well. I love that Alejandro brought up the, no silver bullet solution with cybersecurity. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's here with Skyhawk either, right? Some are better than others. Some are going to work for you, but you're going to leverage the operational mechanisms in here to inform your teams on how to react as quickly as possible. Again, with the SOC pre-training, as well as being able to use the context that we provide here to help your teams figure out, again, what is the sharpest needle in a stack of needles. Skyhawk definitely helps you find that. Uh, how is the identity to Skyhawk? It didn't stay up long enough. I didn't read it fast enough.
Yep. So it says, how is the identity to Skyhawk managed? How does it explore the client's platforms?
So it's very similar to, I'll answer it more generically. We connect to the public cloud very similarly to other cloud platforms. So in AWS, we're using a security audit read-only role to be able to go in and be able to see CloudTrail and what the metadata and how your cloud is set up. We then leverage that very infrastructure metadata, very basic read-only metadata in Skyhawk to be able to inform this information and how we bring it together. So from an identity perspective, it's just a role in AWS. Great questions. Let me add one more thing. There was a slide in the deck that you presented, Jennifer, where it was talking about like scattered spider and those sorts of things. We actually showcased this at RSA. It's turned off right now in the demo, but we're also going to be able to showcase, and this is coming very, very soon, where if a particular vulnerability or particular threat, it also includes a threat actor like APT 41 or Scatter Spider or something like that. That's also going to showcase here, and you can use this as additional context to be able to determine, again, what your teams focus on first. Every organization is different from what they consider to be most important, but again, we provide for you many ways to help you provide that additional right to left focus for your cloud security.
Okay. Another question came in on data sovereignty. Where does Skyhawk persist digital twin data? Is Skyhawk aggregating security telemetry and leveraging its own ML to derive threat intelligence?
Yeah, so we're, again, looking at this from the perspective of what we're doing is so Skyhawk is continuously, because we're connected to your public cloud with that AWS role, we're constantly updating behind the scenes. So every 6 to 12 hours, all of this stuff gets processed. Everything is that digital twin simulation is happening inside of Skyhawk. You have a dedicated Skyhawk tenant, and that information is directly attributed to your tenant. And so when as long as you are a Skyhawk customer, that's always going to be, you're going to have your own tenant that's protected by very specific, keys and everything associated with that. So all of that read-only telemetry that we're bringing in, that's going to be directly associated with your tenant. And if you're a Skyhawk customer and you decide to not do the purple team stuff anymore and go away, then that all of that simulation, all of the stuff that's used associated with that's going to go away with that as well. But it's going to be directly attributed to your specific tenant.
Okay, so I just have like a few more slides and then we'll see if anyone else has questions. Great questions, by the way.
Great questions. Love it.
Great audience. So another case study. So IBEX sees the benefits of the purple team. So the couple of things that I remember about this webinar in particular, as I mentioned this earlier, like just not seeing just what's under the flashlight. Like if you only see the spotlight, like what's going on around it. So this team felt really confident that they were seeing everything else. The AI-based red team, so it gave them the full view of the issues, including the outskirts. Like that was very, very valuable for them. And then the last two are direct quotes. So they're proactive with their cloud security, which is hard, and they're able to get hours back in their day. So imagine having time to do something extra besides firefighting alerts all day long. And then I think we talked about this a lot. So, and I know we're getting close on time, so I'm just going to leave that up for a moment and then move along. Take the preemptive approach today so we can help you stop those AI autonomous attacks and reduce cloud risk. We do this in several ways. You can try a purple team assessment. You can try the free 30-day trial. And of course, if that works out for you, you can become a customer. I cannot stress enough to do the trial because as I said, there's so many, you're seeing this in probably like thinking, or maybe you're not thinking, but I've run into people where they're saying, this just seems too good to be true. I just can't imagine reducing my noise by 99%. It seems too good to be true. Try it. I promise you won't be disappointed. And it's only 30 days and it's free. So,
Are you sending out the Pepsi challenge? Is that what that is?
that's right. It's the Pepsi challenge. So you can email me or Nathan if you want to just email us directly. You certainly can do that. If you go to our website, there's a button there to do the 30-day trial. Certainly check out our resources. You'll see our Gartner mentions, our rewards, all those other things. There's a blog on the webinar with Amit and a link to the video if you want to watch that. And then, of course, you can email sales directly. So thank you so much. You've been a great audience. Like, all the questions have been fantastic. I'm going to stop sharing just to see if there are any others.
And I'll just add on top of that too, if you're adding any additional questions there in the chat, please feel free to reach out to us. You can also find me me and Jen on LinkedIn. So if you want to leverage that as a means of communication, please feel free to do so. The other thing I'll say is, a lot of great questions here. Let us know. We'll happy to do a deeper dive demo, get into more of the product, and certainly answer any additional questions you may have. But we'd love to show it off and certainly connect your environment to the proofs in the pudding, so to speak, right?
Exactly.
We'd love to do it.
Oh, and someone asked for the slides, so I will send out a PDF of our slides to everyone that registered, so you can have those.
Fantastic. And thank you, Mahesh. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone, and thanks to both of you, Nathan and Jennifer. It's been great. I mean, I really like the demo. I think this is something that really helps people understand the benefits of the platforms that you show and everything. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So if no questions on the chat, then I think we're free to go. So, well, thank you very much. We will see each other again on future sessions and future probably AWS Summit somehow, showcasing your solutions as well. So thank you very much to everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.